In his final hours, Jeffrey Epstein made one phone call. Not to his lawyer, not to his family, to a woman almost no one knew, Karina Shuliak, a dentist from Belarus, his last girlfriend, the only visitor he had in jail, and the last person to ever hear his voice. So, who is she? And what does she know? From Minsk to Manhattan, who is Karina Shiliak? Born in 1989 and raised in Minsk, Karyna arrived in the United States in 2009 at the age of 20. That same year, Epstein was released from prison after serving time for soliciting a minor. Coincidence? Maybe. But that's exactly when Karyna entered his orbit. She started dating him around 2010, a time when most of his old allies have abandoned him, but not Karyna. She stuck with him for nearly a decade, reportedly becoming his longest-lasting romantic partner. According to friends, she was intensely loyal. Some called her the Inspector because of how obsessed she was with tracking Epstein's every move. Jealous, yes, but also watchful, paranoid, always investigating. She reportedly dug through his calls, his contacts, and his visitors, and in doing so, she may have uncovered more than she bargained for. A marriage of convenience or control. In 2013, Karyna married Jennifer Carlin, a longtime Epstein associate and, according to several lawsuits, an alleged victim. The marriage ended in 2019, just weeks after Epstein's arrest. Lawyers representing Epstein's victims has described this as a sham marriage, part of a broader pattern where Epstein arranged fake unions to help young women, often non-citizens, stay in the US and under the radar. Attorney Sigrid McCauley described it bluntly. These sham same-sex marriages served a basic and important purpose for Jeffrey's trafficking operation. Karyna never faced legal charges, but her immigration status, connection to Carlin, and her long-term relationship with Epstein placed her right in the middle of the web, the last voice Epstein ever heard. On the night of August 9th, 2019, just hours before Epstein was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell, he made one last phone call. He told prison guards he was calling his mother, but she had been dead since 2004. In reality, Epstein called Karina Shuliak. The call lasted 15 minutes. It wasn't attorney-client privileged. It should have been recorded, and yet the official call logs don't include it. Instead, they say the last time he spoke to her was over 1 week earlier. Why? That question remains unanswered. Prosecutors from the Southern District of New York reportedly reviewed the recording, but never released the contents. Whatever Epstein said to her, we still don't know. Karyna has refused to speak to authorities. She declined to talk to prosecutors, but sources close to her say she didn't think Epstein was suicidal. When she hung up, she was reportedly not under the impression that he was going to kill himself. Epstein's lawyers echoed that sentiment, with one attorney telling a Manhattan court that Epstein, quote, did not seem like a despairing, despondent, suicidal person. Karyna may be the only person alive who knows the truth. Did Epstein buy her silence or her love? Epstein didn't just date Karyna, he financed her entire life. He allegedly paid for her tuition at Columbia University, paid for her mother's expensive medical treatments, and even funded the home where her parents live in Minsk. She had a high-flying life, it seems. Here she is on a yacht with none other than Meghan Markle, right? Meghan, what are you doing here? She lived in Epstein's Palm Beach mansion from 2015 to 2018. She lived on Little St. James, his private island in the Virgin Islands. She was on his private jet when the FBI arrested him in July of 2019. And somehow, through all of this, she remains invisible to the media and public for nearly, a decade? She was fixing teeth. What else did she see? Here's where things get a little bit weirder. Karyna is a licensed dentist, not just in Florida and California, but also in the Virgin Islands, where Epstein kept his, spooky island compound. Her dental practice is listed at an address connected to Epstein. According to multiple reports, Epstein had a dentist chair installed on Little St. James and another one in his Palm Beach home. Some sources claim he liked to fix up the teeth of women in his inner circle. So was Karyna the one doing it? Was she doing everyone's teeth? We don't know, but the implication is a bit chilling. The Inspector. What did she find? Friends say Karyna was madly jealous of Epstein. Not exactly surprising, considering he admitted on prison intake forms that he had had more than 10 sexual partners in the previous 5 years. But her jealousy wasn't just emotional. It was investigative. She reportedly obsessed over his calls, his meetings, his emails. She wanted to know who he was seeing, what they were talking about, and why. That obsessive curiosity earned her the nickname The Inspector. She wasn't part of the trafficking network, at least not according to current evidence, but she was close enough to know who was involved. She saw the inner circle. She was there when Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak visited Epstein's mansion in 2016. She was seen entering and exiting the property with Susan Hamblin, another Epstein confidant. And she was there until the very end. A source told the Daily Mail no one stayed with him except Karyna, even his closest friends. So what does she know? And why hasn't she talked? Known Epstein victim Virginia Guthrie once said, "If you walked foot into Jeffrey Epstein's house and you went in there and you continued to be an acquaintance of his, then you would have to have known what was going on." I think it's kind of bizarre that this mysterious woman known as the Inspector allegedly didn't know what was going on. I couldn't really figure out why the FBI didn't investigate her. I mean, maybe they did, I don't know. But I find this aspect extremely strange. It's just kind of odd. Where is she now? In 2023, Karyna was seen for the first time in years walking through Midtown Manhattan and Central Park. She was also spotted entering a building that housed a gynecologist's office and returning to an apartment in the Upper East Side, an apartment in a building where Epstein once owned several units. And that's pretty much her last known public sighting. As of 2025, Karina Shiliaak is gone. No interviews, no statements, no social media, no charges, no lawsuits, just silence. And to be fair, she hasn't been accused of any crimes. I'm just being very nosy. But she hasn't exactly disappeared from the public record either. She's still listed in business databases, she still has a registered dental license, and she may be the major beneficiary of Epstein's estate. This part is a bit murky. Epstein changed his will just 2 days before his death. Some close associates, like Ghislaine Maxwell, received tens of millions. So was Karyna among them? Yes, it certainly looks that way. If you're interested in the trust and the estate, check out the video I just did about where all Epstein's money is. It's how I got onto Karyna in the first place. Why she matters now. In a world obsessed with Epstein conspiracies, from mysterious deaths to billionaire connections, Karina Shiliaak is like a missing puzzle piece. She's the only romantic partner who stayed with him for nearly a decade. I mean, him and Ghislaine were together, then they weren't together, then they were together. Karyna was on his island, on his plane, in his mansion. She knew his secrets because she looked for them. And in the end, she was the last person to ever speak to him. So, what does Karina Shiliaak know? Will she ever talk? And honestly, where is she? Where is she at? If you're interested in the Epstein case, I mean, damn, you come to the right place. Stay tuned, I've done deep dives into all the details that get lost in the news, and you're gonna want to stick around for what's coming next. Bye.